So any questions on that?
Yeah, let me go through the list. For folks that are popping questions in the chat room, keep them coming. I don't know if we'll get to every single one during the session, but we'll get the answers to all of those while we are, when I get the recording together. Let's see, stuff that's about the anchoring. One person had a question about that they write really long essays on their posts, and they're worried about the information looking way too dense on the page. Is there any sort of technique or inspirations that you have in making, if somebody's a big writer and has big, long blocks of text, how do you break that up visually or have it be more readable?
Well, a couple things. One is, you can easily kind of put in some. You can build like a visual library, or you can have a designer do this, where consistency is really good with imagery. So, like when I did Nia's place, I spent a good day just kind of building up my library for the next couple of years, actually, so that I could. When I post, I would just put in that image and then write around it, and then you can just keep putting images in, and they can be related to what you're writing about. And like I use iStock a lot. I'll just go and get a photograph and make it smaller and you can just do that if you don't want to actually hire a professional. So that would be one way. The other is. You can also, if you have a lot of text, you can add like subtle accents of visuals, like just marks or icons, and then you can also do leads. So, you put in a paragraph and then you say to read more, and then you'll be able to get all your topics on a page, and then if they want to read more, then it would be kind of like a magazine. They would go and read more on another page. So those are two visual ways of saying, hey, I've got some really dynamic information, and look at you would be able to list all of your topics that way.
Yeah, and most blog platforms allow you to do that. For typepad folks, you would be using the little more bar where you're writing a post and you click the little more bar, and that puts that read more from the home page into the post on its own page. So I think, Nia, what you're talking about is finding ways to visually break up the text that keep the meaning of what you're saying unified, but is a bit easier on the eye than a big, huge block of text.
Yeah, they call it chunking. That's about all we can really handle anyway, especially on the screen. Okay, so are we ready to move on to context?
Yes, go for it.
I just love that we're doing so well with time.
Yeah.
This is good. All right, so in terms of context, this is, we are in an era where content really is king, so king, queen, whatever. So you want the context of what you're talking about. Actually, the conversation we just had about breaking up large posts is a good one, too, because you want that to really come across. And just remember, as I'm talking about this, these are just kind of, whether you're working with a designer or whether you're doing it yourself, these are sort of distinctions to be aware of. And I'm kind of coming from the branding point of view. You'll see a lot of sites where people are just pouring out information, and they can't really be read because it's not designed in a way where it can be seen. And so these are just some things. It's kind of like we're taking the eagle's eye view. Yeah. I'm not thinking it's going to turn you on to designers. It's just more like things to be aware of. So. Great. All right. So on Unique Motivations, this is a client of mine, and she's in Florida, and she wanted something literally that. Her brand is very upbeat. She works in wellness. She wanted really bright color palette. She also lives by the water, and all of her clients live by the water, so she wanted a nice blue, kind of watery blue. So we worked on her brand and her collateral and her website, and this is her blog. And in terms of context, what the only thing I wanted to point out here is the arch. And kind of the circle. So, she wanted really to be invited in, like literally you're walking into a building. So kind of to think about, different interesting ways to invite people into your blog space. And this is a header graphic, really easy to do in typepad. And so that was just something to show you. Okay, Art Park. Okay, so this is like the taxi cab yellow and the green and the black is all. This is a very strong, kind of inspiring. Wow, I feel compelled to read just because of the color variances. In terms of creating context, if I was working with Art Park, I would say, they've got some links at the top, and because now typepad is making it easy to combine your website and your blog, I would, what we have is news, reviews, rants, and raves on the side. Those almost look like links because our eye is trained to think in terms of links and websites. So I would just encourage them in terms of context to kind of, work on getting a navigation bar and just making this into a site where they're swapping their photographs and their art in the middle, and then they've got their navigation bar on the top, and the news, reviews, rants, and raves is put maybe into a script font, or it's something that says, look, this is part of our brand or something. So I think the context here is a little confusing, and there's ways to make it more distinguished and more clear.
So a lot of what you're saying goes back to that, the 2 seconds that people spend evaluating your entire life when they go to your homepage.
Yeah.
And, if I don't know immediately what you're about, a lot of times people just jump off and abandon. So always be obvious and really be sure that what you're saying and what you're portraying is exactly who you are.
Exactly, and it takes some thought. I mean, I'll literally print out pages, cut things up, and lay them on the floor so that I can kind of see what's what. Because it's really easy to get lost in information and not, you have to kind of become more object oriented to evaluate that. Yeah. So ink on my fingers. Really, really nice design here. First of all, the black actually looks like ink on your fingers, especially with the flesh tones in the background. So you're getting this consistency of brand where ink on my fingers is actually expressed in the visuals. The other thing is the sizing here is helping to create context, because I know that what's important to this person is what's in the middle. And at the same time, she's got some nice shapes going on the sides that it's kind of like being in a really beautiful store. And even though you know what the store is all about, it's so well designed that you want to go to the sidelines and see what else is going on. And you're kind of grateful, that it's that easy. So you kind of want to be thinking about that. If you're trying to put in too much information on a site, you lose context and you lose your brand stickiness. So just make sure that you put the right information on your blog or your site, and that it's constantly being updated and being framed. And it's better to let go of some stuff versus losing your audience. I think a lot of people think that if they put it there, it's going to be read, and that's just not true. We have to work at really, visually expressing our blogs. Okay.